Martin Luther King Jr. said, "If you can't fly, then run. If you can't run, then walk. If you can't walk, then crawl. But whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." What are your life examples of this?
Exercise. A couple months ago, I was crawling. Now I'm walking. Doubt I'll ever be flying, but at least I'm stronger than I was. After my mom died, I set a single goal to do something productive each day. For a while, it was getting out of bed. Then it was brushing my hair. Then it was cooking something to eat. As each little thing graduated from my thing for the day to just habit, I would add a new thing. It took a while to be functional again. It really did feel like I was crawling when everyone else was running. When I was 22, I lost my leg due to a suicide attempt, and becoming an amputee as a result of my own stupid actions was extremely difficult. But I decided I was going to keep living and really see what I could do with the time and resources I have. I always thought I was too stupid and ugly to do anything with my life, but once there wasn't much left to lose, I got my shit together, stopped being a victim. And now I'm 25, going to school, clean and sober, no friends or girlfriend or family really, but I'm content being alone with my thoughts, and I think my prosthetic looks pretty badass. This is going to sound stupid to most who haven't been through it, but my ex-husband of 17 years cheated on me with my best friend. It's all so cliche. We had 2 preteen boys that he didn't want anything to do with. Somehow I kicked him out of the house, didn't accept his fake apologies, and then watched my run turn into a walk, then a crawl. I dragged us through every day. It happened the last 2 weeks of school, and I still went to their end-of-the-year award programs and smiled even though neighbors were whispering, and I hosted birthday parties minus a parent, and I taught one to drive. I am not completely sure how I was strong enough, but I brought us all forward in those dark days. I wasn't going to let this affect them. And now, even with their dad living 3 miles away with his new family and acting like they don't exist, I crawl with them on my back. My wife died June 2015. I lost my job the same moment she passed because I was her in-home caretaker for 3 years because she was in a persistent vegetative state. I got addicted to methamphetamines again after 22 years of sobriety. My service dog of 10 years died. I survived an attempted murder from 2 people with rebar and wound up with brain damage and a broken neck. I got evicted because I couldn't afford any more to live in our townhome. I walked away from 30 years of memories because I had nowhere to store anything. I spent 2.5 years homeless, living on the streets and in shelters, and the majority of everything that happens to me happened in 6 months. I finally got on Social Security for schizoaffective disorder that I got from using drugs after my wife died, and I finally got a home again back in September. The point is I got through it all because I kept moving forward. This is extremely minor, but I completed a 5K. I'm not a runner. In fact, I hate running. I have short legs and small feet. I'm slow and overweight. I did train, albeit not much. I started the race by running until I was out of breath, half a mile in. Then it was intermittent walking and running until the end. I was the second to last person to finish, but I didn't care. It was one of the best highs I've ever had. It felt good to accomplish something I always told myself I would do someday, but never worked up the courage to try. I was proud of myself. A while back, I was trying to make an app. Learning from scratch, it was hard to find time around work, friends, girlfriend, etc. I had the mantra of if I've only got 10 minutes, then do 10 minutes. The actual 10 minutes didn't achieve much, but it kept it in my mind, and when I had a spare couple of hours, I was in the mindset to do that couple of hours, and over the months, my project gradually grew and grew. Eventually, I got out of the habit, and the app got less and less attention, so it never got finished. I'm furloughed right now. Maybe it's a good time to get crawling again. When I was quickly dipping into depression again about my relationship with my dad, it was shitty. It was slow to recover. It was painful, but I didn't go back without going forward afterwards. Graduated high school in '01, tried the 4 years university thing, was really depressed and didn't go to class much because of it. After the first semester, dropped out and enlisted. 3 years later, I'm medically discharged. Worked multiple shit jobs while attending CC. Find a somewhat decent job while nearing the completion of my associates. Then the recession happens. Finish my associates while spending a year on unemployment. Unemployment runs out, and I decide to hold off on trying to transfer to finish my 4 years degree. Get a job at gas station. Month later, promoted to assistant manager. 8 MO later, I'm store manager. Year later, leave for a contractor position at a bank doing ATM support. About a year later, I'm hired on as an employee. 5.5 years later, I'm in a new salaried role, doing data analysis and finishing my degree. When I'm feeling really down or having a blood sugar episode where I can barely get a bed and walk far enough to the bathroom, I start saying, "Hello, my name is Inigo Montoya. You have killed my father. Prepare to die." I was deep in depression for most of a year. No job, no friends, heartbroken. I had a roof over my head thanks to my parents, but nothing else besides. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life, and no resources to pursue it if I did. Something like finishing college, or traveling the world, or pursuing my artistic dreams, or having a loving relationship was completely beyond my grasp. But one day I messaged an acquaintance. Actually, an ex-girlfriend of a guy I knew, and I asked if she wanted to hang out. Eventually, that became a relationship. We got married. I started publishing books. We lived in Europe for a while, etc. None of that was possible from the place I started in, but I dug myself out one small victory at a time. Life keeps changing. I'm divorced, but in a much healthier and happier relationship, living far from where I'd ever been. I found another fulfilling career and lots of good friends. And I'll never fall into the place I was again because I have memory of my own success. Once you can recall confidence, you can always use that as the first step to anything else. I don't know if this has been said before in this post, but there's a phrase that I constantly think of whenever I feel like I can't move forward. An arrow has to go back in order to move forward. Granted, I know this in Spanish and can't remember where I read it, but for whoever needs to read this, it's okay to step back and see where you're at in order to know what you want to aim at. Stay strong, fellow Redditors. When my heavy wheelchair broke down right before my final architecture school assignment, I asked random strangers to take the freshly printed floor plans to the right classroom. Everyone was running to get their own stuff delivered in time, so I asked people to push me for 10 m or so. The third guy pushed me all the way through, and the plans got delivered in time. Thank you, kind strangers. If you can't run, you walk. And if you can't walk, you crawl. And if you can't do that, you find someone to carry you. Malcolm Reynolds. Better quote for you. What are your life examples of this?